Is your boss too close for comfort? Discover how PAL's stand against sexual harassment led to a landmark Supreme Court decision. Find out the decision of the Supreme Court in Philippine Airlines Inc. PAL versus Frederick Yañez GR number 214662, March 2, 2022.
This is the 38th case out of the 160 cases decided by Associate Justice Mario Lopez, Chairperson of the 2024 Philippine Bar Examinations. Follow for more.
Facts of the case. Frederick Yañez, supervisor in PAL's passenger handling division, was accused of sexual harassment by flight attendant Nova Sarte. Sarte alleged that Yañez inappropriately touched her multiple times. Yañez denied the charges, claiming his actions were merely attempts to get her attention for work-related matters. Yañez was formally charged with sexual harassment under PAL's revised Code of Discipline. Despite being urged to apologize, Yañez maintained his innocence. He was notified of an administrative hearing in Pasay City, but requested a change of venue to Mactan, Cebu, which was denied. Yañez did not attend the hearing in Pasay City but appeared in a subsequent hearing in Mactan, Cebu, where he walked out after his request for a transcript of the previous hearing was denied. The investigating committee found Yañez liable for sexual harassment and recommended a 3-month suspension, which was adopted by PAL's Airport Services Department. Dissatisfied, Yañez filed a complaint for illegal suspension, claiming salary for the suspension period and moral damages. The labor arbiter deemed the suspension valid and reasonable, stating Yañez was given ample opportunities to present his side. The National Labor Relations Commission, NLRC, affirmed this decision, agreeing that PAL acted within its rights as an employer. Yañez then appealed to the Court of Appeals, CA, arguing that PAL failed to observe procedural due process and that the administrative hearing was a sham. The CA ruled in Yañez's favor, stating that PAL should have followed procedures outlined under RA 7877 for investigating sexual harassment, noting that PAL lacked specific rules and regulations for such investigations. Unsatisfied, PAL appealed to the Supreme Court. PAL insisted on the validity of Yañez's suspension, arguing that it had complied with due process and that its policies were in line with the requirements of RA 7877.
Legal issue of the case. Did the Court of Appeals err in finding that the suspension of Frederick Yañez by Philippine Airlines Inc. PAL for sexual harassment was invalid due to non-compliance with the Anti-Sexual Harassment Act of 1995, Republic Act No. 7877?
Supreme Court decision. The Supreme Court ruled in favor of PAL, holding that the CA erred in reversing the NLRC's decision and that the NLRC did not abuse its discretion in affirming the labor arbiter's findings. The court found that PAL observed due process in handling Yañez's case. Yañez was adequately informed of the charges and given opportunities to defend himself. The court also determined that PAL complied with the requirements of RA 7877 in investigating sexual harassment complaints. PAL's actions in suspending Yañez were within the bounds of its management prerogative and complied with both substantive and procedural requirements. Therefore, the 3-month suspension was upheld, and Yañez's claims for salary and damages were dismissed.
Important Doctrines 1. Due process in administrative proceedings. An employee must be adequately informed of the charges against them and given reasonable opportunities to respond. Due process is satisfied as long as the employee had the opportunity to defend their interests.
2. Compliance with RA 7877 for sexual harassment investigations. Employers are required to follow specific procedures under RA 7877 when handling sexual harassment cases, including creating a committee for investigation and promulgating rules and regulations for such investigations.
3. Management prerogative in disciplinary actions. Employers have the prerogative to discipline employees, provided they act in good faith and comply with legal and procedural requirements. The imposition of disciplinary actions, like suspensions, must be based on substantial evidence and adherence to due process.
4. Definition and scope of sexual harassment. Under RA 7877, sexual harassment in an administrative context is not confined to demanding sexual favors. It includes any conduct that creates an intimidating, hostile, or offensive work environment, expanding the scope of actions considered as sexual harassment.